The European Union is a political and economic union that is made up of 28 other states in Europe. The way the EU makes laws is different than how it is done here in the United States. So, the European Union has three key components that are a part of the lawmaking process. The European Commission is the executive that does the proposals. This group is made up by one commissioner from each European Union country. They are the only ones that can come up with the proposals and drafts for making new laws. The European Council, that is made up of one government minister from each EU country, and the European Parliament, that is made up of people that are directly elected, are the ones that decide if the laws are going to be put in place. So the European Commission proposes the possible laws, and the European Parliament and the European Council have to decide. So the Commission proposes a law and gives it to the Parliament and Council for review. When the Parliament chooses a position, they send it to the Council. If the Council agrees with this position, then the law is passed. However, if the Council does not take the same position, then they take on their own position and they send it back to the Parliament. Then the Commission has to tell the Parliament their position on the new version of the law as well. The Parliament then can approve it and then it becomes a law, or they can also reject it and make modifications and send it back to the Council once again. And it can continue back and forth like this until a decision is made. And if a decision is not made after the second try, then a Council and a Parliament committee is formed to try one more time. And if no final decision is made within 6 weeks, then the law will fail. But the Parliament and Council might reach a decision they both agree on, and therefore it will become a law.
The United States has a democratic system, and so certain things in the country are voted on. The country is made up of 50 states, all with a different set of laws, but also governed by a federal set of laws. In order to make the laws, a proposed law must go through a series of steps. For a state law to be enacted, it must go through the specific state's courts. Each state has a different method for enacting and vetoing a law. Similar to the EU, which has three components to lawmaking, so does the U.S. For a federal law to be enacted, it must go through the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of the government. The legislative branch is responsible for making the country's laws and is composed of Congress. The judicial branch is responsible for evaluating the laws and is composed of the Supreme Court. And the executive branch is responsible for carrying out the laws and is composed of the President. In order for a federal law to be enacted, it must first be introduced to Congress. It will then be discussed, and if necessary, changes will be made. Afterward, Congress will vote on the bill. If the bill is passed, then it will move on to the Supreme Court for a similar process of discussion and change, and then a vote will be made. If it passes in the Supreme Court, then the two branches will discuss the changes they would like to make and work out the differences between them. They will then vote on the bill again. If the bill is passed by both branches, it will be sent to the President. The President will review the bill and either approve it or veto it. If the President decides to veto the bill, Congress can override the decision and enact the law. Also, if the President doesn't sign the bill within 10 days after receiving it, it won't become a law through something called a pocket veto.